Hey, it's your main man with the game plan, Corey Giovanni, and you are now tuned into Core Conversation. And today we have CEO, founder of Peak Performance, Ramon Sellers. Ramon, talk to the people. Let them know who you are and what you do.
Hey, everybody. First of all, I want to wish you a happy new year. I know that we've already gotten in through this year, already about 2 weeks, but this is my first time getting a chance to get on a podcast. Some of you might be checking in for the very first time. And regardless, you probably have some of those resolutions. How you doing with those? All right, well, let's talk about it. Let's see if we can figure out how to achieve what it is that you said you want to do this year.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Ramon. You said resolution. I was going to steer away from this. I broke mine already. Yeah, nah, I couldn't do it. But outside of that, I like other people, I like to set realistic goals, and that one wasn't realistic. But I know you have realistic situations that you dealt with. So go ahead and tell the people more about it.
Well, let me say this. I can relate to you. And there's a favorite author of mine that is James Clear. He wrote a book I'm sure many people in your audience are very familiar with. It's called Atomic Habits.
Yeah,
And he talks in that book about how we are not rising to the level of our goals. We're falling to the level of the systems. He dissects it in and out. Great book, by the way. So I get nothing from it. Just let you know, it's a great book to go back and revisit at the beginning of the new year. But I have done something I think that's going to help me and could possibly help many other people. And that is, instead of setting a hard resolution, because like you just said, they're too easy to break. You got to live outside your comfort zone. You got to break outside of your habits. I get it. What I did was I set a theme for the year. So for me, this is the year of
nice.
personal development. Because what I found is that's really the key to all kinds of achievement. My company is called Peak Performers, and we specialize in dealing with people who want to perform at that peak. Not just people, companies as well. We'll get into that. But I know that if I set a theme around personal development, where I dive into personal development more than I ever have before, and importantly, I get really intentional about helping as many other people as possible to engage with personal development. Or did you know if you become more, then you can do more. If you do more, you can both have and give more. So for me, it really starts out with personal development. And that is the secret to peak performance.
You know what? I like the fact that you mentioned personal development, right? Because you already, if say for instance, you miss a mark in any of the goals you set during your personal development, you still better off than what you started. And I like that because of the fact now that you're taking the step by steps. I'm for it. So personal development 2026. Look, if somebody out there take it, you owe Ramon Sellers a check.
I
Such a check.
appreciate. Well, listen, I believe in R&D. You know what R&D stands for, right?
Research and development.
Rob and duplicate it. Rob and
Oh,
duplicate it.
okay.
I'm not saying that I necessarily made that up myself. Okay, I definitely believe in implementing best practices. And here's another best practice for your audience, right? When we talk about personal development, leveling up, accomplishing things, becoming a person of greater significance, whatever tagline you would want to put on it. Here's one thing that I think probably a lot of people overlook, and that is tribe, right? If you have accountability partners around you, if you have people that you can look to that are inspiring you to do more, if you have people that are looking up to you, that you know that you can't let down, right? There's some people that you want to mentor. If you have a community, and of course, what comes into play is the law of associations, right? So I'm sure, Corey, you do a lot of personal development yourself. You've probably heard how you become the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most, right?
I've heard
Associate. Yeah, you absolutely. You need a tribe. And having those people around you that you can sow into and who can sow into you makes it a lot more likely that you're actually going to be able to do the things that you set the intention to do. So earlier I referenced that book, James Clear, Atomic Habits, reference systems. That is one of the systems. It's a key system. And it doesn't have to be hard to implement. It doesn't have to be expensive, but getting around good people who are doing good things and pushing each other and celebrating each other's success is one of the keys to actually succeeding in the areas that you decide that you want to succeed in.
I agree. I totally agree. And when I talk to some of my friends and tribes, I always tell them like, look, Jesus had 12 disciples. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he walked with people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he just walked with people who he wanted to. He had many followers, right? But he had 12 disciplined ones. Or 11, you know what I'm saying?
You know what else he had? He
What
had
else?
an inner circle,
Yeah, he
right?
did. He
Peter,
did.
Peter, James, and John.
Yes, he
When
did.
when it was time to sow a little extra, right?
Mhm.
Or to let some of the they became apostles. At first they were disciples, right? But
Right.
to get them a little bit closer so they can really learn those lessons a little bit deeper,
Yeah.
Peter, James, and John are right there. And isn't it interesting that later on, when he was no longer physically present, right? After he ascended, after the crucifixion and the resurrection,
Resurrection.
isn't it interesting that when the church when the church came together, right? Who were the leaders? The initial leaders, those individuals who had gotten closest, who
Hosted.
had the most face time with Jesus himself. And again, the
Except for
Bible
Jesus.
says you don't necessarily have to be a Christian. Obviously, I am, right? You don't necessarily have to be Christian to use those same principles, right?
Right.
So whether you want to call it a tribe, a group, or a disciple, followers, whatever it may be, you need a team that you can sow into you, you can spurge each other on. And as you rise and become that leader that you truly want to be, you need some people that you can sow into at a deeper level, because then they become empowered to go ahead and carry out those important missions, even when you may no longer even be present.
Yeah, and I agree. There's a phrase that a lot of people say, and I always cringe when I hear it. It says, if you're the smartest person in the room, change rooms. My thing is, if you're the smartest person in the room, change the room. Be meaning that educate the ones in there because we can all learn from somebody, right? I don't believe I always what I do believe is leave a place better than when you came, right? And if you're in a room full of people who you know you're the smartest person, that means you have a duty to educate those individuals to lift them up. I'm not saying you have to be their crutch. But no, you need to lift them up because of the fact that you was once uneducated in a certain area, right? And that's how I look at certain things. Um, but
And
yeah,
I love that. That's very quotable.
yeah,
Change the room.
yeah.
You're the smartest person in the room. Change the room. I love that. Thank you.
No doubt, no doubt. Now that is mine. So if I hear somebody else say it,
Hashtag
CTC,
change the room.
cut the check. but yeah, because of the fact that me and you, we've been talking, right? We've been on this journey for a while. Shout out to Desmond Blackburn who introduced us together. Um, I want you to, because of sake of time as well, I want you to go a little deeper. Let people know more about you. Let people know more about what you have to offer.
Sure, happy to do that.
Yeah.
So as you said, I am the founder and CEO of Peak Performers. That's performers, not performance. And what we focus on truly is helping businesses win government contracts. We want you to win government contracts for a variety of reasons. We can get into that. But if we can get you to leverage those amazing assets and resources that are there for the taking, that's going to benefit you. And furthermore, beyond just hey, we help you win government contracts. We say that we want to help you build a $3 million a year revenue stream from government sources. We have a great system that can help companies, small businesses, perhaps even entrepreneurs that have companies that don't know much at all about the government. You can do that inside of 3 years. So that's what we're really all about. Peak Performers also does have resources that's designed to help the individuals. So if you currently don't have a business right now, we're not turning our back, but we do hope that you will see the light that, hey, you don't have to just do a gig on the side of your 9 to 5, right? You can actually become an entrepreneur. And they are literally trillions of dollars collectively across the government that are being spent every year with businesses. In fact, if you break it down, it's over. You look at the number of businesses that are in the US and the amount of dollars that are flowing from the government to businesses, it's over $200,000 a year that's flowing to businesses on a per capita basis. My question to you is, are you getting your fair share? And if
Right.
you are you getting your unfair share? It, we
Well,
don't want you to have just the bare minimum. We want
right.
you to excel.
And
'Cause we know there's go ahead, go ahead.
you're solving a big problem that a lot of people don't realize they have. I read articles like, a lot of small businesses fail within their first 3 years. A lot of the next is from 3 to 5, from 5 to 7. And you're bridging those numbers. You're bridging that gap of those numbers because one thing about small businesses is they fail because of lack of consistency of payment, right?
Yeah,
And
businesses thrive on 2 things. 2, and actually you can leverage government resources to help you with both. Number 1 is capital, right? So I'm
capital,
not personally a believer in it takes money to make money. I know that's really popular. You can make money with creativity. You can make money with connections. There's other ways to make money than just having some money to put in. That's good news for you. Because if you're someone and you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, then you're not left out in the cold.
right?
I don't want to go too deep into it, but we can point to example after example of people who have done great things and built companies that serve people, serve communities, were able to hire people and support families and do all kinds of things that really started with, well, essentially nothing.